What is a monitoring spirit? A monitoring spirit is a spirit that we all have on this earth, and you need to know that every classified spirits, such as lustful, jealousy, bitterness, perversion, debauchery, anger, spirits of discouragement, any spirit of the sort, these are all spirits of monitoring. These spirits, their goal is to watch your every moves. It's like they're recording everything you are doing on earth to go and relay it back to the enemy. They will see what you like, what are you drinking, who you're hanging out with, what do you like to do, what is your weakness, what is the best aspects of you. They know every single thing about you, and this is not a joke. You have to know that monitoring spirits is not something that's enough spoken about. It is in the Bible, and you have to really open up your eyes to have an understanding of it, but not many people read it with the intention of necessarily understanding the spiritual realm. So I have to be here letting you know that this is what the enemy wants. The devil do not want you to have this knowledge. And that's why Proverbs 11 verse 9 says, through knowledge should the just be delivered. That is why people perish, because they don't have the knowledge. Nothing in your life that is happening is by accident. Of course, God allows certain things to happen in our life, but most of the things that are happening is because of a spirit that's behind us. So a spirit will manifest, a monitoring spirit will manifest through little bad habits. It could come in form of generational curse. It could come in form of relationships. It could come in form of dreams. It could come in different many forms. The power of the darkness world is for us to be unaware of those monitoring spirits, which is why it's so important that when we are praying, we are doing our prayer in our hearts, in our head. We speaking out loud in our heads. You can when you are in unity, because two are more gathered in the presence of God and he will be in the midst. But when you are on your own and you have plans, you have projects, do not let the enemy know your plan. These monitoring spirits, they will turn into masquerade, which is they will change their shape or forms in order to deceive you and reach you. So let me make it clear. Imagine you're having a dream and you're seeing a deceased loved one. Why is that? Because it is a monitoring spirit coming in the form of a deceased loved one. It can also come as the form of someone you love. The agenda behind a monitoring spirits is for you to get destroyed. So you know how the devil comes like a thief, and he comes to steal and to destroy. The purpose here, these are minions sent from Satan himself, and the agenda is to destroy your purpose, to destroy everything that you are building so that you do not fulfill your godly purpose. A monitoring spirit can be deployed by the enemy or people that practice divination or work with the devil. Here we're going to go in 1 King 22 verse 19 to 22. So let me get there. This part of the story is about Ahab, who had been seduced by false prophets. So the false prophets that Ahab was following, there was 400 prophets, and all 400 prophets were serving Baal, and all of these prophets were not telling the truth to Ahab. They were just telling Ahab what he wanted to hear. And God used the fact that Ahab had already sinned by going to spiritists and mediums to send a lying spirit and be deceived and being brought to his death, which is going to be on Ramoth Gilead. You have to have an understanding that God allowed evil to happen, but he did not create evil. That God will use both evil and good to fulfill his godly purpose. Verse 19, Micaiah continued, therefore hear the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne with all the multitudes of heaven standing around him on his right and on his left. So Micaiah is seeing the Lord in a dream. in a vision. So, in the state of us sleeping is the moment where God is able to come to us and speak the most. Also, let's not forget that the devil can come and try to talk to us in our sleep, but this is a moment where he sees God. And so here it is. Verse 20, and the Lord said, who will entice Ahab into attacking Ramoth Gilead and going to his death there? So God is looking for a spirit to get into Ahab, to bring him to Ramoth Gilead, to bring himself to his death, to his death, because that is the judgment that God has called upon Ahab's life. One suggested this and another that. So the spirits, one after another, they don't want to, but finally, on verse 21, finally a spirit came forward, stood before the Lord and said, I will entice him. Okay, verse 22, by what means, the Lord asked. I will go out. So the spirits respond and says, I will go out and be a deceiving spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. He said, deceiving, lying. So he is going to be sent by God to fulfill the purpose that he had in this instance, which was his will for Ahab. Then you will succeed in enticing him, said the Lord. Go and do it. Verse 23, so now the Lord has put a deceiving spirit in the mouth of all these prophets of yours. The Lord has decreed disaster for you. I know you are going to wonder, but how is God able to send a lying spirit for Ahab's death? God created a good world and it became subject to death because of sin. And that is when evil came into the world. God is stronger than evil. He allows evil, but he has the control over evil. So you just have to know that. And just like I said earlier, he will use evil and good in order for him to fulfill his purpose. A monitoring spirit can also reveal or manifest itself in your dreams. So it can come in the form of a shadow figure, a black shadow figure, and you don't see their face, but you see they have eyes. And either it's staring at you, either it's an animal in your dream staring at you, and you don't understand necessarily why. Usually it's a cat. Another way to pinpoint if you have a monitoring spirit around you is if you're having a mice infestation, a cockroach infestation, an ant infestation, a bee infestation. Ruler of darkness will use insects and animals, pork, cats, but they will use the vessels that they need to use, which is why you need to make sure you anoint everything in your house. You pray over everything. You bless everything. It's so important. Before you even drink, eat, go outside, step in the shower, pray. Make sure you have that armor on you. Other ways that you can pinpoint that you have a monitoring spirit is when you feel observed, or when you're feeling watched, or you're anxious, you're having a fear out of nowhere. In 2 Timothy 1 verse 7, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Keyword spirit. Anything that will lead you to start questioning God, being afraid, questioning the future, questioning your purpose, everything, it is a spirit. Behind the spirit, it says what? A spirit of fear. And what I said earlier, in any given spirits that's from the world of darkness is a monitoring spirit. It is classified such as when you have a hard time sleeping and you're having nightmares and you don't understand, you feel a presence, that can also be a representation of you being monitored by a spirit. Psalms 91 verse 5 says, you will not fear the terror of night, nor the arrow that flies by day. When you are doing so many efforts and you're putting your best foot forward, you're changing your life around, but you keep having setback, you're being stagnant, you don't understand why things is not happening, you over here having misfortune, you're having failures, and you just don't understand because everything seemed to be going well. Everything should be going accordingly to all the efforts that you've been giving, but also God's will. Now I'm going to give you Ephesians 6 verse 12, and that you should incorporate it in your daily prayer. Ephesians 6 verse 12, for our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the power of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. God, Dad, has told us, He has let us know, the Bible isn't just a mere book. This is God's instruction. Any problem you have, you go in the Bible. It's gonna have the response. You might think it might not, but it's just you don't have the eyes for it. Open your eyes and realize that He has left this for what? Like, whenever I feel something or I'm going through something, I promise you that the Bible has my response to something. It's just you have to go and seek for it. Seek for the knowledge. Seek for Him. He says it in the Bible. Seek for Him and you will find Him. Monitoring spirits, they can be deployed in your home. They will come. They are not omnipresent, not just like God, because God is always present, but they will be coming in moments. In some other cases, they will be deployed in a friend. So obviously your friend do not know that they are being used, and a spirit is behind them, a spirit of monitoring. And unfortunately, that's when people do not have God and they do not have Him at the center of their life, and being aware and having the word and reading the word and wearing His armor. A monitoring spirit will have your friend come over. You think you're just hanging out, you're chopping it up, everything is cool, until you realize that your friend is asking you lots of questions like, how is this going? Oh, when this project happening? And you think it's okay because that's your friend, you're just sharing. But the monitoring spirit is taking every information you're sharing with him, and they take this and they rely it to the enemy. They go bring it there, and now you don't even know. Anyone that's doing divination can call on a monitoring spirit that they have assigned to you. And remember, everyone has one. Now you have a medium or a spiritist calling this monitoring spirit and asking about everything that you are doing. And it will give it. It will give it because it's working with them. It's literally that. So that's why you have to be very mindful of who you share things with. And if you can, avoid doing so. If you know that this person you can't necessarily trust, you don't pray with them, they're not having God at the center of their life, do not do so.